It's funny. Have you ever really stopped to think about how we make words plural in English? I mean, it seems so basic, right? But once you start looking closer, you find this whole hidden world of rules, weird exceptions, and a really cool kind of logic. That's what we're going to dig into today.
Okay, so let's start with what we all know. At its heart, the idea couldn't be simpler. You have one thing, you want to talk about more than one, you just slap an S on the end. One car, two cars. One book, 10 books. This is lesson number 1 for English plurals. Easy peasy.
But just when you're feeling confident, English does what it does best and throws you a curveball. I mean, if cars is perfectly fine, why does saying informations just sound so wrong? How come you can have a bunch of plans, but you can't have a bunch of knowledges? Well, that's the puzzle we're going to solve. There is a secret logic here, and believe it or not, it's actually pretty straightforward once you see it. So, first things first, before we get into all the tricky stuff, we have to really lock down the foundation. Because, let's be honest, most of the time, that simple S rule does exactly what it's supposed to. Yep, for the huge majority of English nouns, this is your go-to move. Just stick an S on there and you're good to go. It is the absolute workhorse of English plurals, handling everything from dogs to desks to donuts.
Now, this might look like just a boring list of spelling rules you have to memorize, but what's really cool is that they're not random at all. It's mostly about making the words easier to say. Seriously, try saying churches or boxes out loud. It's kind of clumsy, right? That's why we add that little extra E sound, churches, boxes. Same thing with a word like baby. Babies is okay, I guess, but babies just rolls off the tongue. These aren't just rules, they're fixes to make the language sound better.
Okay, foundation is set, you're feeling good. Now for the big reveal. The real reason you can't see informations has absolutely nothing to do with spelling. It's because English, secretly, behind the scenes, sorts every single noun into one of two categories. And here they are. This is the big secret. Countable and uncountable nouns. Countable nouns are pretty much what they sound like, things you can point to and actually count one by one. Uncountable nouns, on the other hand, are for stuff. Substances, ideas, or big collections that you can't really break up into individual pieces. A good way to think of it is items versus material. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. Look at this. You can count chairs. 1, 2, 3 chairs. But furniture is the whole category, the stuff. You can count individual songs, but music is the concept as a whole. You can take 3 separate journeys, but travel is the general activity. Getting this distinction, this is the absolute key to everything. So here's the payoff. This one decision, is a word countable or uncountable, changes all the grammar rules for it. Countable nouns get to have all the fun. They can be singular or plural, you can put numbers in front of them, and you can use a or an. Uncountable nouns? Nope. They are stuck in singular form forever. You can't say 2 wools or a water, and that right there is why you can't have 2 informations. Information is uncountable. It's stuff you have, not things. All right, so you've got the big system down. But of course, this is English, so we have to have the irregular squad. This small group of old, really stubborn words that just refuse to play by the S rule. But think of them less as mistakes and more like historical fossils, just buried right in the middle of the language. A lot of these guys are leftovers from much older forms of English. Instead of adding something to the end, they actually change a vowel sound right in the middle, like man becomes men or foot becomes feet. And then you have the really weird ones like sheep or fish that, well, they just don't change at all. You just kind of have to learn them. But when you see them grouped together like this, you can start to see the patterns. Okay, time for another special group. These are the nouns that are, and I'm not kidding, just born plural. They don't even have a singular version. So, just take a second and think about it. Trousers, scissors, glasses. What is the one thing that connects all of them? The answer? It's symmetry. They're all things made of 2 identical parts that are joined together. 2 legs for a pair of trousers, 2 blades for scissors, 2 lenses for glasses. Since they only really exist as a pair, the language just decided to treat them as being plural all the time. After all, you can't have a trouser and expect it to work, can you? So what do you do if you want to talk about just one of them? Well, we came up with a clever little workaround. We use this special phrase, a pair of scissors, a pair of trousers. It's a neat little language hack that lets us sort of force the idea of one onto these words that are naturally plural. Okay, so we've covered the main rules. We've had the big twist with countable and uncountable, and we've met all the weird exceptions. But why does any of this really matter? Well, it's because understanding plurals is actually the master key that unlocks one of the trickiest parts of English grammar for almost everyone: articles. That's right. That whole confusing decision of whether you should say a book, the book, or just books. It almost completely depends on the ideas we've just been talking about. It is all connected. Your knowledge of plurals is what tells you which article to use. And this little chart just makes it all so clear. It starts with one simple question you ask yourself. Does the person I'm talking to know exactly which one I mean? If the answer is yes, it's easy. You use the. Pass me the salt. We can both see it on the table. But if the answer is no, that's when your plural knowledge comes in. Is the noun singular and countable? Then you use a or n. I need in envelope. Any old envelope will do. Is it plural, or is it that uncountable stuff? Then you use no article at all. She's afraid of spiders, or I need advice. It's a beautiful logical system. So in the end, what looks like this messy, chaotic pile of random rules for plurals is actually a really elegant logical system. And it's all built on that one fundamental difference between things you can count and stuff that you can't. Once you see that, everything else just starts to click into place. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other parts of English grammar have this kind of hidden logic just waiting for us to find?